Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastically well. Am I on mute? No. Here we go. We're back with another stream. We're back with the debrief. Really excited for this one. We've not done it in 2 weeks. My fault. I have been away, as you guys know. I tell you on every single stream, just so you know that the content hasn't been here because I have been away. I promise you. I've not just been, ignoring my duties here. But I am joined with two fantastic guests who are going to be joining me throughout the season to be discussing everything Leeds United. We've got loads to discuss tonight. We've got transfers. We've got the Wolves game we've not even discussed, the Southampton game, and of course the Chelsea game coming up next weekend. Let's flash a couple of your comments up. Ayup Connor says Justin Neal. Loads of people talking about transfers as well already. We're going to get into that. Don't worry. We've got loads of stuff to talk about. Joffrey has to start against Chelsea. Without any further ado, everybody, let's get the fellas into the stream. KG, Brownie, boys, it's beautiful to be reunited. We had some issues off air there, StreamYard playing up again. I'll blame StreamYard. I won't blame myself. But we're back anyway. Brownie, you're in the top corner, mate. How on earth are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm really good, mate. Really good. Yeah, it's good to be back with the boys.
It is, yeah. It does feel like it's been a while. We had one, didn't we? Then we went off again. Then someone went away for a few days, KG. But we're back now. How are you doing, buddy? You all right?
Yeah, man, all good. Shout out to everyone in the chat.
Yeah, shout out everyone. Jack Baxter's in the building. Lads. KG gets a scream from Chris Fox. Blinkyfish says, evening, everybody. Okay, well, I guess I don't even know where to start. It feels so long ago now. But the Wolverhampton Wanderers game, Leeds United winning 2-1. We all had our predictions in there. No need to go over that right yet. But before the game, and I mean, how are you feeling, Brownie? Before the game, mate, it was tense, but I feel everybody was excited for the game. The start of a new season. It doesn't matter where you are, really, does it? In terms of a club, I think everybody is always excited for that first game.
Yeah, definitely, and I mean, the championship started the week before, didn't it? And it was just so good not to be involved in that. So I think everybody was just so relieved that we were starting off another Premier League campaign, the third one on the trot. And it was just brilliant to start with a win. It was a really good feel coming out of that game. It was high intensity. It was everything that we needed to start the season with. I'm sure we'll get onto the substitutions with the Southampton game when we touch on that. But I felt like in the Wolves game, flip it around, I think the substitutions really helped in that game. So it's interesting that we're going to speak about two games where subs in one game helped, subs in another game didn't. But yeah, Wolves as a learn, it's great to get off the mark with 3 points because, I mean, I think we mentioned it in the show that we did before the season started. We couldn't be waiting 7, 8, 9 games to get that first win again. It was vital to get 3 points.
Good win, KG, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was, like Brownie said, it was important to get off to a positive start. And I think we've done that in the 2 games, albeit differently. But it's just nice to see that we were at it from the beginning. Wolves did come into it in the second half. But we're going to get these games this season. I think that's why everyone needs to prepare themselves. I know I said it on my match reaction, but it's literally going to be like this. We're going to win some of those games and we're going to lose some of them or draw some of them. But that's what we're going to be this season, and it's going to be a lot more fun than what we did last year. That's for sure.
I think everybody's wondering, Cage, have you got Rodrigo printed on the back of that mouldy cheese shirt yet or not? Because you were all in for him last season, mate. Are you sold on him so far? What's going on?
Nah, listen. I gave Rodrigo his props. He was tremendous when Jesse first came in, and I thought that's what he needed to unlock him. And then he went back to type, didn't he? So he started off brilliantly. Now I'm just taking it as it comes at the minute because we could get all this now, and then he goes goalless for the next 3 games. So just keep on doing what you're doing. He owes us this anyway. He owes us these performances, what he's been putting in. So listen, as long as he keeps it up, it's all good.
Yeah, can't disagree with that, mate. We're all willing him on, especially if we don't know what's going on with the striker department. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into that towards the transfers, towards the back end of the show. Everybody stick around for that one.
Connor, can I just say, I've had messages today saying that I've got to debate Che Adams. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Okay. We don't have to do Che. What about Ollie Watkins? We go with that one?
Yeah, I would, but I don't think Villa will sell to Leeds United. And if they do, they're going to want to recruit a lot of the 33 million that they spent on him, because he hasn't depreciated in that way. It's just that maybe the manager doesn't fancy him anymore as a full-time player. So we would have to pay the big money, and that's the question: would the board do that?
Well, yeah, I mean, just on that anyway. I mean, we've touched on transfers straight away, but I mean, you look at Ollie Watkins, and you got to look at his profile as well. I mean, why would he come to Leeds? That's the question right now. What is the attraction with Leeds United, especially if the profile is, you don't want another striker to come in and block Joe Gelhardt, and Patrick Bamford is the number 9, and that's what we're going with. That's what we heard in the Radrizzani interview. So, that pitch that Victor Orta's got to do to these strikers in the Premier League. If we are looking at those sorts of individuals, it's going to be a difficult sell, a really difficult sell. But
can I just jump in here on this whole?
Go on, jump in deep. Go on, getting deep.
I'm going to go in 2 feet here, because this is the biggest.
Are you going to do a Matthias Click on a Tyler Adams in training, or what?
That's not good for me, but. I just think this is the biggest concern for me as a Leeds fan right now. This whole striker thing, like you mentioned there about blocking Joe Gelhardt's pathway. He didn't even come on for him at the weekend. He's got his own injury problems that keep cropping up himself. He didn't even come on. We're here again seeing Dan James down the middle for Leeds United. Now, on this show countless times at the back end of last season, I was saying we'll put the blame on last season on whoever had control of the transfers. We said that numerous times. I think all 3 of us alluded to that at some point. We kept hearing Bielsa didn't want him. Bielsa doesn't want signings. Bielsa doesn't want a striker coming in. Here we are 6 months later, 6 weeks into a transfer window, and we're still seeing Dan James, number 9, down the middle. We're still seeing no striker in the club. For me now, I'm looking at the board, because Jesse Marsh has alluded to it a few times. He wants more bodies in. You can tell he's not saying too much, but he wants bodies in. And the only money we've spent so far is the Phillips and Rafinha money. And we haven't even spent that. To not have a striker in to compete with Bamford, let alone not to block Gelhardt's pathway 3 years into the Premier League, it's negligence. It's just barbaric. It is. It really is. And I'm going to go in 2 feet. We're going to be on show 7 minutes, but I cannot believe I'm still seeing Dan James as a striker.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think the turning point. I mean, I don't think there's going to be any fans who are going to turn around essentially say we've had a shockingly bad window or anything like that. But I think we'll jump as you just alluded.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
It's going to be... This year, we're going to do, like, the whole old question of sport, what happened next? Because I'm sure during the course of this season, all 3 of us are going to end up with moments like that.
Oh, he's back. He's
back in town.
It begins.
And I'm not saying Dan James is in the Tyler Roberts category. I am not blaming Dan James. He's not a number 9.
Wait, hold on. Where did I go? How long was I out for? We're talking about Tyler Roberts.
Welcome to my world, Connor.
I'm just saying, Connor, when you went off, we're going to do a type of spin-off of Question of Sport, what happened next during the course of this season. Because at some point, all 3 of us will jump off.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I mean, all I was saying was I think it's... I was just alluding to it earlier on the room, and as I was just saying, everybody's talking about transfers, so let's get into it for the Southampton game.
Yeah.
Essentially, I might disagree with this. They almost have 2 strikers, 2 very decent strikers to compete with each other. I'm not saying Joe Gelhardt's a bad striker, of course I'm not, but I'm saying 2 almost established Premier League strikers going head to head and competing for that number 9 jersey. I just don't get what it is with Leeds, and almost with the Radrizzani interview, the feels that I got, and I was mentioning this on the rumour mill and my match reaction yesterday, was almost that Bamford's got the jersey no matter what, and we don't want to block Gelhardt as the breakthrough star. Now, whilst I understand that, why has Patrick Bamford got the number 9 jersey and nobody can challenge him, KG? Is that just a bit? Am I somewhere else there? I mean, is that should that be a thing?
No, the problem is, and if you just step outside the Leeds bubble for a second, people talk about Patrick Bamford like we got Harry Kane.
Yeah, I know.
You know, we're trying to bring in someone to compete with Harry Kane, but no one wants
It's
to
true.
come. We're talking about Patrick Bamford here, and with all due respect, we said, what was it on a couple of weeks ago, Connor? How many? I remember when I asked you how many games do we think he's going to play this year, and we're already at the point where we're having to wrap him in cotton wool, where he's doing less training. He's being kept at the moment like a 36-year-old at the end of their career. So we need somebody to come in, and the problem I have is that we make transfers sound so difficult. Like Emmanuel Dennis, and I hate to bring him up because I bring him up a lot on my channel, but he's literally gone, and I believe the fee was something like 12.5 million, going up to 20 after add-ons. That is doable. That is amazing value what Forest have just got there. We should have been in on Emmanuel Dennis, and there's no blocking the path for Gelhardt. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I just get Steven Gerrard vibes when he was younger and he's going through growing pains. I think he's just getting niggly injuries like that as his body's progressing and developing. I don't think it's anything to worry about. It's just growing pains for me. But you still need another striker to compete with the other two. That's how you get better competition. That's how you get the best out of the team.
This is the reason why I use the word negligence, because the fact we didn't have anybody to back up Bamford last year, it nearly took us down. Bamford only playing 5 games almost took us down. And I stand by that. We said it so many times when we were doing the reviews of games last season. If we'd have just had a striker in the box, there'd have been a tap-in. If we'd have just had a number 9 to hold the ball up, we'd have been much, much better as a team. We were constantly playing. I mean, we went through that phase where it was 1 week it was Dan James, 1 week it was Roberts, 1 week it was Rodri. It was like literally anybody could have a go at one point up front.
But why was that? This is what frustrates the life out of me. Sorry to cut you up, Brownie, but why is it still? I understand it wasn't for a long period of time and Jesse adapted and put Rodrigo up there, but why is he still going to Dan James up front? Why are we still hearing in press conferences that Dan James can be utilised up front?
This is what I mean, because that point I just made about nearly taking us down, we're now starting a new season and we haven't addressed it. We have not addressed that. And I mean, we heard Jesse Marsh say after the game, if it had been a cup final, he'd have played on. I get we're wanting to protect him. We don't want him to get injured, but come on. We're in the Premier League now. It's if you don't laugh, you cry. I don't get it. I'm sure we'll get onto the left back spot at some point as well. Yeah. Pascal Stroy, has he done anything wrong? No. The goals come down that side. The Kyle Walker-Peters goal has come. He's run off Harrison, and there's no left back anywhere in sight. Now, the Wolves goal came from that side, but again, it came off Christensen getting bumped off it. I keep seeing people say, they're out of position, I'm not sure they are. The way we play, we are going to be very narrow, shifted across the pitch. So one ball switched to the other side of the pitch. The fullback is going to look in no man's land because it's just how we set up. And when it works, it's brilliant. We saw it in the Wolves game. We win the ball high up the pitch and we create attacks. When it doesn't work, we will look really open and exposed. So that's something just to be careful of during the season. But I mean, me, you, KG, everybody in the comments were all saying striker, left back. Every man, woman and dog, striker, left back. The fact we're 6 weeks into the transfer window and we still haven't got a striker or left back, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, and Brownie, I mean, I add to that as well, another central midfielder, even though we are miles away from even talking about getting another central midfielder, because once Rucker and Adams, one of those two are out, we're back to the basics. And somebody made a good point on my channel, and it was a great comment, because I was thinking about the time when Jesse didn't make the substitutions, was it that he didn't trust some of the players to come in and continue the job? And you just think, I mean, again, I hate to talk about Forest, but they seem to be signing everybody. So they literally just picked up Kouyaté on a free transfer. Imagine Kouyaté coming off the bench for you in a game like that. Or if Rucker or Adams out, let's slot in Kouyaté. Brilliant. But we just don't seem to be in for anybody. I'm seeing all the rumours from people that I trust and read. We're never in the conversation. The only time to bring us in the conversation is to pour cold water on it, that we're not signing anybody. I don't know what's going on here in terms of just completing the transfers. And I make a joke of it, but I do get the feeling like they were doing all the business while everyone was on holiday. And then pre-season comes, they see all the faces again, they're like, it's the guys. I mean, we can run this back again.
It could be a clever stroke that he's pulled, Jesse Marsh. He could have put Dan James down the middle on purpose. to really make a point. Like,
Jose Mourinho style.
Come on, guys, I need a striker. If we're going to go through another season with no striker again, when we're going to have the same outcome, it could end up being a masterstroke and a bit of a blessing in disguise that he took him off after half an hour to just really force the board's hand to really go and get a striker. Because, like I say, last year that really did nearly take us down for me.
Yeah, and the only thing though that with that, Brown, is that he realised it wasn't working and he changed it at half time.
Yeah.
So he put Rodrigo further forward and James back out on the wing. So but I hear what you're saying in that regard.
It's just, I mean, I gave Marshall the plaudits for the Wolves substitution. Saturday was so hot. I couldn't believe it took 84 minutes for a substitution. I really couldn't. And even in the press conference in the lead up to the game on the Thursday, he'd said that they had plans in motion for substitutions and things like that to take the heat into account. I think the subs won us the game against Wolves and the subs lost us 2 points against Southampton, for me personally. But 4 points out of 6, it's a great start. It really is. Unbeaten. Top 6.
Yeah.
Who needs a striker?
Yeah, I think there was a few really good comments in. Anyone notice Patrick grabbing his thigh pre-match? It wouldn't surprise me, mate.
Alex, shout out to Alex. I was saying in my match reaction before he went off, he was turning like he was turning in treacle. It was so painful to watch him even trying to turn. You know what I mean? On the half turn, he was going so slow, and then he tried a shot, and it was as soft as a baby kicked it. Like, you could tell he wasn't comfortable, probably from the start of the game, as Alex mentioned there.
Yeah, Javi said Connor have to say our away kit is ace, mouldy cheese. Not everyone can pull it off. Now, fair play. I certainly can't, mate. I can't pull off those V-necks. I can't do it.
On what Alex said then about feeling his thigh, we said this last year. I think you alluded it to quite a lot, Connor, and you, KJ. Psychologically, any little tweak, any little pain, he's going to be thinking, oh no, not again. And even the club, I mean, bringing him off just as a precaution. He wasn't even injured. They're saying he's going to be training this week.
But you see, for me, it's even when Jesse talks about him, he's every time he's asked about Paddy, he's talking about management. He's talking about putting him in the right phases of training. It's almost like it really is bubble wrap tactics in terms of how he's articulating his points around Patrick. We've got to really manage him well. You know, he's come off a really bad, and whilst he's quite right, is that a message to the board again? It's almost like, well, we have to manage him well. The next lad in line is a youngster who's not had a lot of Premier League experience. But I just think it's really, really worrying signs at the minute, just with regards to transfers, not to how the season started. But I'm just looking at that longevity and what we've seen last season, the trends and patterns, as I always say. We have to learn, don't we? We have to learn from what happened last season. I think the foundations of the squad have improved, but these gaping holes at left back and centre forward have just got to be filled.
Yeah, and just quickly on that as well, we saw the whole Charles Ketelaere thing, and that was obvious that he was the main one. But I just hope that they haven't, like a little kid throwing their prams out the, toys out the pram and saying, we didn't get Charles, so I don't want no one else. I want them to go back in. There's got to be other options there. There has to be other options, and that's what it is for me. It's not about just spending the money on any and anyone. It's about getting the next best target that you've got on your list. And all this thing about Leeds not being able to track players is bull. Because listen, again, Forest, because they signed 25 players, they just signed Atalanta's captain, and they haven't been in the Prem for 20 odd years. So there's no reasons why we can't go out and get a player of those kind of qualities for those kind of prices, because he only costs 9 million. All this 20 million stuff, I've been saying it since last season. It's not true. You do not have to spend 20 million on every single player. But it would just seem to be standing still at this minute.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I mean, we've heard about Kai Wagner, haven't we, at Philadelphia Union? We've heard rumours of Ollie Watkins. We've heard rumours of, a fair few other strikers, to be fair. But it does seem to be, even when you're looking at the proper journalists putting the stuff out, Leeds are almost a little bit of an afterthought, aren't they? It's almost like Newcastle, Everton, and LUFC are interested. It's almost like the journalists are just putting Leeds on the end just to make the story.
It's that time of the year, in it, where there's going to be rumours and players agents chucking names out just to get their clients a move and stuff like that. So it is a difficult time to believe what's right, what's not. But I mean, yeah, if the season had started differently, then it'd be a different conversation we're having right now. We'd be absolutely slamming the board left, right, and centre, I think. But I think the 4 points out of 6 has helped. It has been a positive start on the pitch. I just think you're right, Connor. I think longevity-wise, it's a long old season. And as much as I love him, I've been his biggest fan. We cannot rely on Bamford playing every game for another season. Well, it already, game week 2. He hasn't played the full game. It's not worked. So we do need another ready-made number 9 to play.
Just instinct-wise, from both of you, I'll go to Brownie first. Do you think we will bring in another striker or not?
Yes.
KG?
I hope so, but the only thing is, when we had Firpo go out, we all thought that we'd get a left back in, and they paused on that. They've said everything but a left back. I mean, the left back isn't even being mentioned these days. It's all about a striker. So who knows? That's the best answer I can give you at this point.
Yeah. I think we will. I think we always. I mean, wasn't Dan James done on the deadline day? Have I made that up? Deadline day, Dan James, wasn't it? Rafinha.
I think I've tried to block it out, mate. But yeah,
that Rafinha transfer seemed to come from nowhere when we signed him. There's still, 16, 17 days to go in the window.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 weeks to find a striker. It should happen. If it doesn't, then the board are just saying, listen, we're happy to just finish 17th again.
Yeah. Liberty's in the building and says, do you think Ollie Watkins would be a good fit? I personally do. I think Ollie Watkins would be a fantastic fit. And, there's be an argument out there that, straight away start over Patrick Bamford, even if they were both fully fit. There'd be an argument out there 100%. So, yeah.
Them two were eyeing for each other for that England spot all the way
Yeah.
before. So they were very similar player, aren't they? I mean, if the alternative...
They are.
If the alternative
are literally the same player.
I'd take a lot of strikers, to be honest, because it just doesn't work with Dan James up down the middle. The way we play, as a holding the ball up, it's not his game. It's absolutely just throwing him to the wolves. Get Dan James on the wing, it's a different story, isn't it? That's his game. But yeah, for sure, but I think Watkins would be a good fit. But I mean, Villa selling to Leeds, it's not going to be cheap. It wouldn't be cheap at all.
Yeah. Well, they'll have to make money. They'll probably look at make money. Well, they wouldn't probably look at it. They would look at making money on him. He's a good age as well. Premier League footballer as well. Watkins is bang average. What are you three on about? Says Reformian. Yeah, well, fair enough.
The thing is, the thing is with Reformian, I know what he's saying in terms of his conversion rate. It isn't the best, but we do create a lot of chances, and we saw it against Wolves, and we saw it before we scored our first against Southampton. We had quite a few chances to put the ball in the net. No one could finish it. So if he needs 2 or 3 bites of the cherry, okay, but he can also provide for you too. I mean, literally just got 2 assists on the weekend, not just scoring by 1 game, but that's what he can do for the team. So, and he gives you a threat in behind as well.
Just to add on to that as well, Cage, I think that's where we're at though. As a football club, we've got 1 striker. And Gelhardt, who's an emerging talent, who's going to be brilliant, don't get me wrong, but as an experienced number 9 in the Premier League, we've got 1 who at the minute is made out of marshmallow. Like, it can't get 90 minutes consecutively out of him. And I love Bamford to pieces. I've never slated him once. If he's fit, he plays for me, no matter who comes into the club. But at the minute, he's just breaking down too often.
Yeah, it is almost like you do one, and you fear from him on a personal level as well, because you think to himself, I mean, what's he getting to, sort of 28, 29 now, and he is really, really breaking down with injuries consistently now, and you're thinking to yourself, over his career span, he's not really had many seasons where he's avoided injury, and if he's breaking down like this consistently towards the end, Leeds have got to take a step back and really, really look at what's the contingency plan is going to be in the next 2 or 3 years, really, with having a top striker in at the club who's going to be available for at least 30 games. And as we've said, are we expecting Joffrey to be playing 20 games this season if Bamford isn't available for those 20 games? Probably not. So anyway, let's get on to more positive news. Anyway, Leeds, well, positive maybe. Leeds went away at the weekend to Southampton. Obviously, picked up a 2-2 draw. I've not managed to watch any content. KG, I'm normally an avid watcher of yours, but I tried to just take myself away to the Zen place of Greece and avoid anything Leeds United. So, What was your take on the game, mate? Are you happy with the point? Were you a little bit disappointed that Leeds managed to drop off in the last sort of 20 to 25 minutes?
Yeah, I mean that's it for me. It was definitely 2 points dropped from how we was playing and up until the second drinks break. If we had made changes then, I think it's quite simple. And Jesse alluded to it after the game. He knows it. You can see it in his face. He wasn't happy. But if we made changes at that point, I think we see out the game. And 2-0 up at Southampton. And it felt a lot like Newcastle last season where the crowd were getting on them. You know, there's turmoil in the group. You know, the manager even said after the first thing he thought of was, well, I've upset a few of the newspaper headlines for not losing today. You know, there's a lot of turmoil there and we didn't capitalize on it in the end. So, yeah, it's 2 points dropped, but I think it's always worse when you're 2-0 up, because if we had gone 1-0 ahead and then they equalised and then we go 2-1 ahead, then they equalise, I think you're happy with that. But because we took the 2-0 lead, it feels a lot worse than it was. But like everyone keeps saying, we're undefeated and we move on to the next game. And unfortunately, for where we're predicting Leeds to finish, we're going to be dropping points like this throughout the season. Doesn't make it any less sucky, but it's just the reality of our team.
Yeah. Brownie, can you add anything onto that, mate?
Yeah, I mean, we had our predictions, didn't we? And Saturday morning, I'd have taken a point after the win against Wolves. You'd have taken a point. Don't go there and get beat. But when you're 2-0 up, it's just frustrating, isn't it? It really is frustrating. I think we went too defensive after the second goal. It reminded me of the Norwich game at Ellen Road last year, where we went ahead and then thought, right, let's defend it. And I mean, we got out of jail with the Gelhardt last-minute goal in that game. It just felt like we just sat back a little bit too early for me. And then again, with game management's right. Yeah, we just seemed to do that a little bit too soon. Could we have gone and got a third? Could we have really killed it off? I don't know, but yeah, I alluded to it before. The Wolves game, Jesse Marsh's subs won us the game, and I think the subs that didn't happen until 6 minutes till time, I think, cost us 2 points. But I've loved with how he spoke after both games. I think he even could accept that himself. It sounded like he took responsibility for substitutions himself, which is pleasing to hear that it was on him. He takes the plaudits and takes it when it isn't. So yeah, 4 points from 6 looks really healthy. And then we've got Chelsea around the corner. So there's no easy games. So at any point in the Premier League is going to be a good one this season, I think.
Is that why Warwick? Is that? Do you think? And this is probably a question from me to both of you, because this is almost how I'm feeling at the minute. Sort of when I look at the next 2 games, I think there are 2 very, very difficult games coming up there. So, I mean, when it is what it is, isn't it? We can't do much about it now. Leeds did drop points, but yeah. Are you a little bit worried that there have been obviously 2 games now where there was the Wolves game, obviously just after the halftime whistle went for about 20 to 25 minutes. It was very, very difficult for Leeds to get out, and I did feel it happened towards the back end of that game where Leeds just couldn't get out, and it's a little bit, in a sense, I'm watching the game and thinking, if that press isn't working, you have to almost rely on defensive, solidity, don't you? And when that doesn't work, do you think there's a plan B at all, or do you think it's almost very, very similar to Bielsa, where it is sort of plan A and plan A needs to work, KG?
No, I think there's a plan B, because we saw it and it reverted to a back 5. And that's not something that we've really seen under Jesse Marsh. He did go to a back 5 because Struijk was tucked in. On that second goal, Harrison was left with his guy because Struijk was in the centre of the penalty area. So there are other ways of playing. But what I would say as well is Rucker's had to come off a couple times. Some of these players haven't played a lot of football, so it's going to take some time for them to get 90 minutes in the legs. And obviously the Premier League speed is a different kind of speed. So the more they get used to it, the better. And we still got to get the full force of Sinistera as well. We haven't seen a lot of him yet. So we've got another weapon to unleash in the coming weeks as he gets fitter. I just think that there just needs to be more options. Not going back onto transfers, but there just needs to be more quality options that we can replace, like Rucker and Adams. I thought Adams was really good as well. He's an understated player. He does all that dirty work in the midfield just to get the ball back and hand it off to Rucker and other guys like that. Yeah, I think there are going to be multiple ways of playing, especially if they don't invest in another left back.
Yeah, I agree with KJ. It looked like we'd changed it up a little bit when things weren't working. And was that enforced through personnel? I don't know. But we did change during the course of the game. But I hear what you're saying, Connor. The 4 points from 6 can very quickly become 4 points from 12. And then it's a completely different conversation that we're having. But then we bring Frank Lampard to Ellen Road. So that's the thing, the beauty about this season. There's not a big chunk of really difficult games at once, which we highlighted when we looked at the fixtures like last year. It was like, oh my God, where's our next point coming from? We have got plenty of chances over the run of games to pick up points, which I think will help us this season. But yeah, 2 tough games coming up in the league. I know we've got Barnsley in the cup in between them, which I think we'll see a completely different 11 to what we'll play against Brighton and Chelsea. But yeah, there's the 2 tough games with Brighton being away.
Yeah, they look very good against the dark side, which I don't think is difficult at the minute. Justin O'Neill says, will any of you be at the Chelsea match? I'll be flying from the States for it. I will not, mate. I'm working, unfortunately. KG, Brownie will be. I know he will be, but
yeah, I'll be there.
KG, are you heading?
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay. There you go. So it could be 2/3 of the debrief there. So get your pictures in, everybody. Get your pictures in if you are going. John says, if I can just select that. Yeah, he says, what are you all panicking about? We're 6th.
I agree, John. Top 6. European football on the horizon.
Stop the count.
What I will say to that though is it's definitely not panic from me, but it's just about looking ahead at the bigger picture.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is.
Yeah,
I think
so. Yeah, I'm literally going to take off what you're going to say there, Brownie. I think we're all very. I think we're quite measured. We're thinking to ourselves, right? Okay, it's been a decent start, but we are. You're looking ahead and you're thinking there's going to be some tough roads here. There's going to be some tough roads if we just reinforce the bits which need reinforcing in the squad. We're going to be set up very nicely, and I think we'll all be a lot more eager to get on with the season. I think just at the minute there just needs to be a bit of patchwork done, and then we can look ahead and think to ourselves we can really go for it there, at certain aspects. But yeah, Chelsea and Brighton's. Is Brighton a winnable game? And it is a winnable game. Any team's a winnable game, I guess, in the Premier League. But they do look good, I guess, at the minute. But
I've got a bottom 5 in my mind, and I don't have us in that. I have us just above that with the likes of Palace, hovering above with Everton, Palace, and us, and then a bottom 5. So I think we'll be top half of the bottom half. That 11th to 13th area. I think that'd be a good season for where we're at. I'm not in any panic of us being drawn into last year.
No.
Okay.
Connor didn't seem so sure.
No. Believe it or not, I'm feeling all right at the minute. I'm feeling all right. I know the group chat sometimes doesn't give you guys that vibe, but these guys are like my sounding board on the group chat, which is what I need at some point. So, anyway, I'd want to talk on some individuals as well, because there's a lot in the chat about someone specifically on individuals. Rasmus Christensen has been getting a lot of chat at the minute with regards to, fans sort of question his performances. The Wolves game, obviously, he was up against Aït-Nouri on that side, and Neto, who I thought was brilliant on the day. What a player he is, by the way, 21 years of age. He's going to have a really bright future. And then, obviously, at the weekend, he was up against Gineppo. He's got to acclimatise very, very quickly, hasn't he? Because I was saying this on my stream earlier on. If I'm Cody Drame and I'm in training and I'm looking at Rasmus, I'm thinking to myself, we're going to have a real battle on for that right back spot this season. KG.
Brownie, you go first.
I'll jump in. No, I alluded to this about 10 minutes ago. I think it's the way we play. I really do. I think it's no surprise since Jesse Marsh came in that fullbacks have struggled. We looked at Firpo. We looked exposed for their goal, the Kyle Walker-Peters goal. Christensen, I just think our team is... I took a screenshot and I put it in our group in the Wolves game. The whole... From that Wolves first goal, when Wolves won the ball back, our entire team were past the penalty spot. Entire team were past the penalty spot on that side of the pitch. One ball across the field and our right back is one-on-one. And it's the same on the other side. One ball at Southampton got Kyle Walker-Peters a free-shot goal. I think we're just going to have to just suck it up and get used to the fact that is how we're going to play. We're going to be that shifted across to the other side of the pitch that our fullbacks, they are going to come unstuck at times. I really do. I hear what you're saying about one-on-one. I think he made a great tackle in the Wolves game, Christensen. I'm just really putting it down to the way we play and how we're set up, because I think Ayling struggled, Firpo struggled, and again we're seeing now Struijk and we're seeing Christensen struggling a little bit as well positionally. The whole team is just that far over that I think it's just going to happen, and it's no surprise to me that we keep seeing fullbacks score against us because they've got the whole side of the pitch. I think back to Villa, the 3-0 game, Jesse Marsh, was it Matty Cash? Matty Cash had the freedom of the West Stand. And I just think that's how we're going to be this season.
In regards to Rasmus, for me, it's not so much a system thing at the minute. It's just his general demeanour and play, his body language as well. I think he looks a little bit shaky. I think it's taken him a bit of time to get used to it, because I look at the other players that have come in, Rucker, Aronson especially, and Adams. They seem to have adapted way better than Christensen has at the minute. And even when he had that free header, if you remember from a set piece, he headed it like he was a Mandem on the park, man. He headed it like he was an amateur footballer. So I think he just needs to get used to it. Like you say, Neto, there's no shame about getting skinned by Neto. He's going to be a very good player in the future, now in the future. But Gineppo, I can't have that. Because then who can you stop? You know what I mean? So I think it's going to take a few games, but like Connor says, and somebody else said that as well on my chat as well about Drame. If Drame comes in for the cup game and impresses, there's a chance that there's a wrestling match for that shirt. But that's the way it's got to be, because you've got to have him. You need to give him the games, but if he's not improving, you've got to say, Raz, you've got to come out for a bit, because we're absolutely getting burned on your side as well. The problem on the left hand with Struijk is that he's good defensively, but going forward, you can see it's not as fluid with Harrison. He's always looking to go back to Harrison to cross it. Sometimes the move breaks down with Struijk as well, because he's not a natural left back. There's just issues in there, and it's all to do with the balance of the team. But yeah, Rasmus, for me, I haven't lost confidence with him, but I do need to see him improve in that position.
Yeah, I think it's also critical to note that, you know, I know there's people talking about Rasmus in there. We are all fully behind him. I can speak for the lads as well. Yeah. I mean, you can't write a guy off after 2 games. And I think largely, as Brownie's quite rightly said, he made a fantastic challenge against Wolves as well. There were some good bits in terms of getting forward in the Southampton game. And I think naturally we've recruited, haven't we, lads, for 2 or 3 years in that fullback role, just for ultimately players to be very, very good going forward. And that is the ultimate attribute, isn't it? Under Bielsa, it was all about the fullback getting forward, and defensively almost came as a secondary thing that we'd then think about. And it's funny how the Christensen signing seems to have filtered into that mould as well. But I think just for me, I'd agree with what Brownie says. It is the system. I think because Christensen provides the width, you know, because Struijk is obviously going to provide the width as well. They're naturally going to be got at by the wingers, and there are some absolutely exceptional wingers in this league. But I agree with KG. If Gineppo's getting the beating of you consistently, I mean, when you're looking at players like Raheem Sterling, when you're looking at players like Leandro Trossard, it could be a little bit of a bad couple of days for him. But listen, I hope the system adapts to that. Maybe we're going to get some help from the wingers or whatever, or maybe he's just going to improve, and hopefully with time that comes. Brownie.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, 2 games in, like you alluded to, I think all the new signings, Aronson especially, I think they've all come in really well. But it's no surprise to me that the players in the middle of the pitch are standing out more, because we pack out the middle of the pitch. We're better in there. We're more solid in there. Whereas out wide, we're just a little bit more open. So them players are going to be got at.
I love Mark Rocker, by the way. Just want to put that out there. Really?
Yeah. Good. I'm an Aronson guy myself, but you know who's really come good so far, and long may it continue. Jack Harrison has been brilliant. He's been really, really good. He's not only is he just getting in crosses, he's taking on players, and he looks confident. That's the Jack Harrison you want to see.
I think, I mean, you guys know I've criticised him before, 100%. I'll say I have done, but when he's putting performances in like he has at the start of the season, he almost seems to have taken that X Factor role, you know, that Rafinha left, and I think he's been absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with Sinisterra, isn't it? It's going to be interesting to see how we set up when Sinisterra is going to be playing, you know, when he's going to be starting. I mean, are we thinking he's going to come in for the Chelsea game? Do we think he's going to start for that game, KG Sinisterra, or are you thinking it's going to be sort of what we've seen?
It all depends what happens with Bamford this week. They say that he's back in training, but we've heard this before. So it all depends on if we need to rejig anything and if Jesse thinks that Sinisterra is ready to start. So we'll just have to wait and see on the team news, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Been any standouts for you, Brownie, aside from the obvious? I will say, you know, I do agree with KG. You know, when I was watching Adams at the start of the Wolves game, I thought, he's going to have to acclimatise here a little bit. But then I thought he really, really grew into the game. Southampton game, I thought he was brilliant. He's just in that, once again, you know what we're talking about with Christensen struggling a little bit in those 1v1 situations. It seems like Adams wants it. He's like, come on,
he loves it.
Come on, 1v1, and he gets tight to him, and that's what I'm saying. People in the chat, I've just seen, you know, it's going to be difficult for anyone to be good 1v1. It's only special defenders that are good 1v1. I don't think that's naturally true. I just think some players, you know, they almost just seem to love it, and Adams seems to be really up in his opposing number's face, doesn't he? He seems to be really good at it.
He does like schedule. He loves it. I think Melier was brilliant in the Wolves game. Obviously, I've never not. How can I phrase it? But I've had my critics of Meslier over the last few years, but I think in that Wolves game he pulled out some really big saves. The one just before half time with his foot, huge save. But yeah, I think all the new boys have settled in well. Obviously, Rasmus, like we've spoke about, is probably the one that's taking a little bit more time to settle in. Harrison, you can't argue with what he's done. And obviously Rodrigo is producing the numbers, and he's the top Premier League goal scorer. If not KG, is he top of the scoring charts in the Prem?
I believe so.
But yeah, and I think that's what is encouraging me a lot more this season. Is we're mentioning a few names when we talk about that, about who's impressing. It's not just Rafinha. It's not just give it to Rafinha. Rafinha's doing everything. We're mentioning quite a few names there. The chat, me, you, and Connor. We're all saying a few different names, which is helping the team. I think that there's not just one starlet. There's quite a few dotted around over the two games that have done well, which is why we're sixth.
and just on this, and this is for the chat as well, because I mentioned it to Connor. I mentioned it in the group chat, didn't I? But I was talking about missing players, and Phillips, and this isn't a bitter ex not missing their ex-lover or anything else like that, but I don't particularly miss Phillips, but I do still look out for Rafinha and everything. Is anybody else even thinking about Calvin Phillips? Yeah, it's hard not to think of Rafinha because of just the player he is, but does anybody miss Calvin Phillips at this moment in time?
I mean, yeah, no. I think, do you know what it is, KG? I think a lot of it as well, and this is how, I mean, I was speaking today on the room mill about trying not to think of it like this in terms of recency bias, but I don't know if you guys agree with this, but in the last sort of 12 games, obviously, Calvin, I can't remember how many of those games he played, but he didn't play like a huge amount, but in the system, he didn't really stand out like he did in the Bielsa system, and I thought he really, really struggled to adapt a little bit, whereas now we've almost seen Adams come in and fit absolutely perfectly. We've seen Rocker come in and fit perfectly. So I don't know about you guys, I might be wrong here, but I feel if maybe those two would have come in and really, really struggled, we'd have maybe turned around and thought to ourselves, either recruitment could have been better, or could Calvin have worked eventually in this system and maybe missed him a little bit more on that aspect?
Mine would have been, could recruitment have been better? You know me.
Yeah,
me too.
I mean, me too. KP wanted to go, he has to leave, and good luck to him. I think you got slaughtered, Connor, for saying he was quite injury prone, and here we are in August and he's injured. So I'll throw that one out to you. That, listen, he missed a large chunks of last season. I've personally said he'll go to the World Cup. He's playing for Man City. I think the fact that he's not going to shift Rodri is on another level. He's not going to shift.
What a player he is, by the way.
He's not going to shift Rodri. And will it harm him starting in the World Cup? Possibly. Yeah. But listen, he's going to end up with a Premier League medal at the end of the season, so he's not going to have done bad out of it. But for me, no. Would I still want him? Obviously, you still want Calvin, but no, the players that have come in have done brilliant and look encouraging with the performances they've put in. Like I said,
did we see Rafinha's goal against Real Madrid in Las Vegas for Barca?
Like at the start of the season, it feels like a new era under Jesse Marsch. New players have come in, and Phillips was kind of he was that Bielsa era, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Which slowly seems to have just gone its separate ways. There's one or two still left, but no, I agree, Connor. We said all along I'd rather lose Phillips than Rafinha, and I stand by that. I think Rafinha will be missed because he's just magic, in my opinion. But yeah,
we're still waiting. We're still waiting for the 2nd of September to get those instalments in as well. Keep an eagle eye on that one from Barcelona. See if we get that final pay packet.
Well, I don't know if you two guys will know better than me, but if they miss the deadline, do we get an extra 10 million? Is that right?
Mate, I've no idea. Even I can't. I'm getting so stressed with Barcelona. I have been.
I've given up on it. I don't understand it. I don't get how.
I don't pay attention anymore.
I don't get how they're still allowed to do it. I saw the other day that they were 1.4 billion in debt.
Have they registered Rafa yet or not? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He played yesterday. He came off after an hour, drew 0-0 with Rayo Vallecano. So he didn't score on his debut or anything like that. But they registered 8 out of 9 or 7 out of 8. But yeah, like if they missed the payment on the 2nd, you could add 100 million on it if you wanted. If they're not paying, are they? So I really don't get it. But I think if they do not pay on the 2nd, I think then it's going to go quite big, isn't it? You've got your De Jong not getting paid money. You've then got them not paying clubs. How far does it go before they get some sort of...
Listen, Barcelona are like, when you keep getting red letters for your bills, you can keep sending them, but I ain't got the money to pay you, so, keep sending them all you want. You know what I mean? That's how they're moving. So, listen, that's their business, man. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, 100%. Zilly Sausage. That's a tongue twister there. You haven't mentioned the centre halves yet. Partnership seems to be gaining cohesion. Yeah, I guess it's what it's Robin Koch and Llorente. I guess not bad. I don't know if I'm sold.
That better not get clipped up or anything like that. But I've liked Koch. The back end of last
trolls do your worst.
Yeah, the back end of last season and pre-season and the start of this season, I have liked Robin Koch.
Okay, I mean, it said partnership there, Brownie. So you need to mention the other one in that partnership. Are you sold on Diego Llorente as his seasonal partner there?
Listen, I don't mind Llorente. I really don't. But who would be my starting two at centre back? I probably wouldn't have Llorente partner him at the minute. I'll get slaughtered by KG for who I do say, but that
don't say it. Don't say it.
Look, Brownie, I'll ask you: is he even available?
Pardon?
Is he even available?
I don't know.
No. He wasn't even on the bench, Brownie.
I know. I don't know, mate. But at the minute, I think it is our strongest centre back. I think it is. But then,
I've just read here that someone's given a bit of a summary on the Phil Hay podcast, which has come out today. I don't know if you guys have listened, but apparently a left back is very unlikely to happen. Before Saturday, Phil wasn't sure if we'd get a striker, but injuries might have changed their mind, which is a very vague comment. It's very vague. That is not really saying anything. And apparently, I don't know how to pronounce his name. The young Italian lad is apparently not happening, which we've seen today from FC Zurich. So seems once again very, very quiet, and yeah, hearing the left back's not happening is Phil can't. I'm sure Phil won't know absolutely every crevice of European news, but it is disappointing to hear. But yeah, I mean, so we sort of looking at lads. Are you thinking it's just going to be throughout the season? It's going to be a Junior Firpo and a Pascal Strauch sort of rotation job at left back then?
It's looking that way.
Yeah.
It is looking that way, and that's why I said I think what we've got at the minute is our best centre pairing, because obviously Strike's playing out at left back, and who do you play? Do you play Firpo or Strike? Yeah. I don't want to get too negative about it. We've been on transfers, but I find it staggering that we haven't just been promoted. We're 3 years into the Premier League, 3 years in, and we still only have one left back and one centre forward experienced at the club. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And we're still having. It should be at Leeds United more. It's not side before self. It should be square pegs in round holes. That's what it seems. That's what it seems to be.
Just on the stadium.
Yeah,
on the west.
We'll get down side before self, and we'll just erect square pegs round holes, because that's just what it seems to be. Every team sheet we get in it, there's always a square peg in it.
Oh God! Imagine square pegs round holes FC. Oh man, Jesus Christ! Yeah, it does. It does feel that way, doesn't it? Okay, lads. Well, we're up in the 8 o'clock mark. I know a lot of people will be wanting to head off and watch. What's the game? Is it Liverpool Palace tonight?
Palace, yeah.
Oh, that's going to be a fun game. Where is it? Anfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's not really worth the watch then, is it? But it is what it is. Some people love to watch that. Okay, let's get in the score predictions, everybody. Well, we'll discuss the Chelsea game a little bit beforehand. Has anybody watched any of Chelsea? KG, Brownie, have you watched any of Chelsea? I watched them against Spurs yesterday. I thought they were completely dominant. Can't believe Spurs got anything out of it, to be honest with you. KG, what have you made of them so far this season, mate? And what have you made of their signings and the recruitment?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Chelsea are going for a bit of a who can we get kind of approach. You know, they're going the opposite way of what we're doing. They're trying to get any and everybody. But what I will say is that for all the dominance that they had against Spurs, I think still had more shots on target than them, which shows you the area where they're quite weak. Unfortunately, you're coming up against Leeds United, which means you may get a chance or two. So we need to know how efficient they are. How clinical they are. I'm a Havertz fan. He's great for Germany, but for Chelsea, I mean, he missed one yesterday that he should have easily put in. We can only hope we get that kind of luck again. Mason Mount's been playing deeper, but he'll come to Leeds and he'll want to do his impression again and score his goal again. He does it every single time. So
did he give it the finger or the what did he do last time? I can't remember.
He gave it this because he was getting stick beforehand.
Yeah.
You know, we're not innocent. Come on now.
Yeah, he did it right in front of my face.
But for me, their business so far in Koulibaly and Sterling, brilliant signings for them. And they've also integrated some of their other players that they had out on loan. Gallagher's back in there now. Broyer's in there. So they're using a fair bit of the squad. Ruben Loftus-Cheek look good. Are you a fan of the Cucurella signing? Oh, a brilliant signing. He was excellent yesterday as well, by the way. I mean, listen, I said last season that because a lot of people on my channel got sick of me talking about Cucurella and just how brilliant. But this is what he was. He was ready to go to the next level. And even a Brighton journalist I was speaking to at that game said, yeah, he's definitely going to go to the next level. It was just so obvious, him and Basuma. But in terms of Chelsea, should we be really scared? No. But we have to kind of shut up a bit defensively in order just to keep them out, because they can have all the ball they want, but if they're not shooting, they're not scoring, and that's what we've got to try and prevent on Sunday.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I watched the Everton game as well. They were pretty dogged. They just got the job done. And I hear all this talk about Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea might not make. Listen, Chelsea will be in the top 4 come the end of the season. They'll be in the Champions League places.
They've still got a while. They've still got a while to go of the window as well. They're spending so frivolously. They've still got a while to go, haven't they? So,
and I think I'm with you, Connor. I'm not sure how Spurs got anything out of that game yesterday.
Conte.
Yeah, that you're right. No, that is it. That's the difference. Why I think Tottenham are in the conversation, because
a quick Cucurella hair pull as well in the box as well. By the way,
but for me, I just want to. Last year, I went to the Emirates against Arsenal and we conceded after 2 minutes. Chelsea,
don't say that.
Goal, we conceded after 3 minutes. I just want to be in the game for a long period of time. I remember Man City coming and they scored quite early on as well. We'll have a game.
It's a really good point, that, Brownie. It does feel like when even Spurs, when Spurs stuck 4 past us, it does feel like, and Man United as well, it feels like when any team does come to Ellen Road, it feels like the game's almost over. It has been recently. It's over, isn't it, in 10 minutes?
The ground buzzing, the atmosphere's up there, and within 10 minutes, 1-0 down. It's like, brilliant. Yeah. I just want to be in the game and have a good go, and have a proper good go against one of these top teams. Yeah. And I'm... some point this season, we will get a result against one of these top 6 teams. I'm adamant.
Oh, really?
I'm
seeing a nod there. I'm seeing a nod there from Cages. Are we thinking we're going to beat one of the top 6 this season? Yeah.
I don't know about beat, but we can get a point.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
It's one of them where I can see us getting something at the weekend. I really can.
Okay. All right. Well, I haven't done an updated table, but you guys can can refresh my mind. KG was top. KG, by the way, I believe he got the correct score. Did you get the correct score, KG? I'm pretty sure you did
for
first
the
week.
Wolves game. For the Wolves game,
you did.
yeah.
So fair play, KG got it absolutely spot on. Brownie said draw. Don't need to go over what I said.
No. Let's go over what you said, Connor.
I just gave you plaudits. You've got to give me a little bit of shoelace, a bit of string, a bit of rope.
It don't work like that. It don't work like
that. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I did predict a loss. I've been very pessimistic, guys. I did say at the start of the season that I thought we'd have a slow start.
Connor thinks we'll finish mid-table, but he's predicting us to get beat every weekend.
Every week.
Imagine me saying mid-table. That needs to be cooked up. So I did predict a defeat, shockingly. Okay, then the second week, I also predicted a defeat. So I am rock bottom at the minute, and deservedly so. Pure scumbag. KG, can you just refresh my mind on what you said, my friend?
I said 3-1 against a Southampton team in turmoil. Ralph Hassan, who no strikers, Shane Long's missing. Che Adams' twin is still there. I had no worries, so it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I went 1-1, Connor.
You went 1-1, okay, which is
point
interesting.
On the road and win at home.
Point on the road, okay, so that puts you into second. I'm bottom again. Fucking hell. Okay, so let's get score predictions in for this week. Everybody in the comment section below, get yours in. Leeds United against Chelsea. I'll flash them up on the screen. Who wants to go first, fellas? Top of the league. You're gonna go. A bit of confidence there. You're gonna go first, or?
Well, Brownie's first in the order today. So
okay, all right then. Go on then, Brownie.
Head or heart? I'm gonna go 2-0 Chelsea, but it would not surprise me if it was a draw.
Right. Okay. Right. So what did you say? 2-1 Chelsea.
2-0 Chelsea, 2-0, but it wouldn't surprise me if we got a draw. It really wouldn't.
Okay. Chelsea 2-0. Is that your little disclaimer so people don't come in as harshly on you next week?
No, I mean, come on, we're up against one of the top teams in the league.
Yeah,
we've got to be realistic with where we are.
Definitely. KG?
Yeah, I'm going 2-1 Chelsea, and obviously I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, Chelsea to win this one.
Okay, Chelsea to win this one. You said 3?
2-1.
Okay.
Well, if you didn't predict a win versus Southampton and Wolves, it's definitely not going to be a win now.
I dread to think what's coming here.
I might shock you all. I might shock you all.
Uh-oh.
This is his on-stream prediction. When we get our fields in the chat, he'll go, actually, I think we're going to get bad.
We'll have a 10-stage PowerPoint of why Chelsea are going to absolutely dismantle us.
Just before we get into my prediction, that pause. Hi lads, welcome back. Looking better already this season. Might even get something from Chelsea. Good to see you all back. Listen, Colin, I'm the same camp as you, mate. We're positive guys. We don't need any of this negativity on stream. Getting something from Chelsea. No, I've got to be honest. I think this one's going to be a loss. I'm going to agree with Brownie. I think we'll lose this a battling 2-0 loss. So yeah, I think we'll lose that one.
But that does show where we are though, because like this time last year, we'd write these games off. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. As you,
Brownie, I mean, listen.
Sorry, go on, mate. No,
I was just going to say, I never want to be in a position where I'm predicting Liverpool to win 6-0 again and they do it. So I'm hoping that this time around, Chelsea, particularly 2-0, maybe we can upset them. Get a draw. A draw would be a brilliant result, by the way.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. Oh, what a result it'd be. Yeah, incredible result.
At a point right now, definitely.
Yeah. Right, guys, we're going to leave it there. I know there's a few people who are going to be going and watching the Liverpool game. So thank you so much for watching. Cage's link is in the description below. Make sure you go check that out.
Wait there. Can I just say, the link is not in the description below currently.
Yeah, it is.
Is it? Have you put it in?
It is. I updated it. Don't worry.
Okay, all right.
Midstream, I thought to myself, crap, I've not done it again. It is there. Don't worry. So go check Cage's link out in the description below. I also put Brownie's link in. I can multitask as well. So make sure you check that out, everybody. Go on.
Comments here. That's not because I said I love cock, is it?
It is.
Nude sites. Yeah. Yeah. It's the algorithm. That's the algorithm.
And then the thing is as well, somebody called Dave says he doesn't want to get stuffed, so that also doesn't help either. So you know what I mean.
But yeah, guys, we're gonna leave it there. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you in a bit. Cheers.
See ya.